Harriet.
And I'm Alex.
On behalf of XR Melbourne,
We want to congratulate Sydney City Council
for declaring a climate emergency.
We also want to congratulate XR Sydney for making it possible.
And we want to call on Melbourne City Council to declare a climate emergency too.
There are dire warnings that New South Wales will be hit by increasingly extreme weather.
2015 was the hottest year since climate records began. Figures show this July was the single hottest month in recorded history.
Australia sweltered through its hottest spring on record.
Climate change is now affecting every country on every continent.
It's the rate that's of great concern.
And what do you put that rate down to?
Oh, it's human activity.
We have everything we need. Some still doubt that we have the will to act. But I say the will to act is itself a renewable resource.
Hello and welcome to this rapid reaction episode of Climactic. It's a new type of show we're trying out that's driven by your messages you send in to us in response to breaking news. On the night of Monday, the 24th of June, the Lord Mayor of Sydney, Clover Moore, declared a state of climate emergency.
All those in favour say aye. Those against, I declare it carried unanimously.
The vote was unanimous. Sydney was not the first Australian capital city to declare. Both Hobart and Canberra have declared in the preceding weeks. Darebin Council and Melbourne's Inner North declared a climate emergency in December 2016, making it the first council in the world to do so. Since then, hundreds more around the world have declared. Countries have joined in as well. This morning, as I record this, New York City has just made a climate emergency declaration. For the full history and timeline of declarations and a map, visit cedamia.org. That's CEDAMIA.org. It's a remarkable resource. And thank you, Margaret Hender. These declarations vary, and they're not solutions, but they are steps. And on the declaration of Australia's largest city, we wanted to take the moment to celebrate, but also to reflect, and to hear from across the community about how we feel about this tangible, historical step. This is a first draft of history, and we hope to do more of these. We'll post alerts to our social media, and you can find links to us on social media at www.climactic.fm. So without further ado, here are the voices and perspectives of our friends and peers in the climate community on the declaration of a climate emergency by Sydney City Council.
My name's Michelle Radinovich. I'm an ex-corporate marketer turned full-time climate activist as of about 2 months ago. The declarations we're seeing across Australia and the world right now, they're inspiring because they're born from a movement for the people, by the people. It's pretty bloody exciting to think that activists and just everyday concerned citizens and local government are forming an alliance against the state and federal governments. I really believe that the City of Sydney Declaration and others like it will start to have a ripple effect across Australia. Since Sydney's declaration on Monday, people have been asking how they can get their councils to declare. I helped on this declaration, but before it all started, I had no idea what I was doing. I probably still have no idea what I'm doing, but I just asked the question, and that's all it takes. Councillors, they're elected to represent us, and a good councillor will listen to their people. The more leadership we see from local councils, the more pressure that puts on our state and federal governments to tell the truth and act now. It does feel like we're slowly, very slowly, inching towards critical mass. Local government declarations and the activists who relentlessly continue to show up in the streets are helping to change the tides. Soon people will start to realise that the status quo is changing and the wider community will wake up to the crisis. But this depends on us. We need to continue to engage at all levels of government, and we need to show up in the streets, show up to all of the protests. Because if not us, then who? And if not now, then when?
My name's Sarah Caruana, and I was fortunate enough to listen to the declaration of climate emergency yesterday with the City of Sydney, and I thought it was really refreshing to hear politicians actually regarding climate change as what it is, an emergency. I had a sensation that we can finally move forward after so much political stagnation on this topic. For so long, the state and federal government have not taken action whatsoever, and I'm really hoping that with the support of local councils, they can finally start turning things around. Up until this point, Australian politics has been shameful. They've constantly pushed the fossil fuel agenda and increased deforestation, which all directly contributes to the climate change catastrophe. So now it's time to actually acknowledge that this is a serious issue and to change policies and show real leadership. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes.
My name's Grant Webster, and I'm just voicing my opinions on the climate emergency declaration. I'm definitely in support of this declaration. It's really very good news to hear. Some of the reasons why I like it, well, it acknowledges the seriousness of the situation. We're now sort of realising the extent of this problem, something we need to deal with right away as soon as we possibly can. It causes incentive and holds some accountability to take action on these issues. So if they've said it's an emergency, well, then they need to follow through with action appropriately. Not that they've already not been doing many good things already, but there's more that can be done. It will mobilise others to do the same thing, so hopefully we can get the ball rolling and other councils around the country and eventually the whole country and whole world can do the same thing, and we can get some real climate action and save our planet and our future. And finally, it recognises the scientific position on this subject. So the science has been very well settled for a long time and constantly ignored by politicians around the world. But now it is really nice to see that some of them are actually listening, and we have this as a result. So yeah, it's great news.
My name is Kim. I am a single mum to 2 beautiful teenage children, and I work within the finance sector. I volunteer with Lifeline as a crisis support worker when I can, and I am also passionately helping and assisting where I can with the Extinction Rebellion. Recent City of Sydney declaration has given me a huge amount of hope. It was an incredibly emotional night for a lot of people, and it's provided me personally with a huge amount of courage and fortitude to continue the fight to get this country to do what it should have been doing years ago in the fight for our climate and our planet. And I just have so much hope for this movement and I know that I'm not going to stop, and I know that we've got a groundswell now of people who are conscious and awake. So that's it from me. I'm excited to move forward.
I feel a climate emergency means that we finally acknowledge the truth that we as human beings have failed on the biggest level possible, and that we have created a system which is corporate consumerist capitalism, which is about to disrupt life as we know it on the planet. We have changed the face of the earth in terrible ways. We have driven thousands and thousands and thousands of species into extinction. We have devastated this planet, and it's about time that we acknowledge this. And it's acknowledged that we have failed, and it's acknowledged that we have to change things on a massive scale. And it's not only a climate emergency, it's a extinction emergency, it's an environmental emergency. And it makes me feel pretty depressed about being a human being. So I feel acknowledging that we have failed as human beings is the very first step in being able to live an honest life with dignity and facing all the things that are happening with dignity and taking at least a tiny little bit of responsibility for our terrible failure as a human species. Well, that's it. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Tim. I'm a singer-songwriter from Sydney. I'm someone who witnessed the actual council meeting in progress and was there for the declaration of a climate emergency for Sydney. It was very inspiring to see, and as someone who has a fairly deeply embedded cynicism of political mechanisms and the rate at which things successfully change, it was very important for me as a concerned citizen to witness, because it gave me a real sense of hope for the future, which I haven't felt for a little while, and it also gave me a renewed faith in some of our leaders, to hear them passionately talk about why the climate emergency is such an urgent issue, and even individual examples of why it was important to them.
Hi, my name's Damien Davis-Frank and I'm a nurse in Sydney. The City of Sydney declaring a climate change emergency gives me great hope that governments are finally going to recognise the science and start attacking the issue of climate breakdown. It gives me hope that my future children will be able to live in a world that's clean, drink clean water, and play under clean skies. It gives me hope that we're actually coming around and admitting that the science means we need to act, and we need to act now. So I'm thankful that Sydney City Council has made this great step, and I really hope that state and federal governments are going to follow their lead and be inspirational changes to attacking climate change. It's time we really start facing this as a country and as a planet.
Hi, this is Zell, and I've been working on climate emergency declarations all year. And last night, the City of Sydney declared a climate emergency, and it makes me optimistic that political change will happen sooner rather than later. We now have 24 councils that have declared climate emergencies, including the cities of Canberra, Hobart, and Sydney. And Brisbane is debating a climate emergency declaration on the 30th of July. There are another 35 councils across Australia who are looking at declaring climate emergency declarations. Thank you very much to all the climate emergency inventors who are working to get climate emergencies declared all over the world.
Do you love the environment? Do you like your climate and want to keep it pristine? Are you tired of those in power doing nothing to alleviate the situation? Are you tired of the climate emergency not being front-page news? Then come peacefully rebel on the streets on October 7th for a whole week. Go to your nearest Extinction Rebellion chapter to find out more. Sponsored by Extinction Rebellion. Sponsored by people who actually give a damn about the planet.
The Climactic Collective.